Okay, so today we're going to look at graphing parabolas. Later on we will look at graphing some other ways. I gave you sort of a list here of the things that you need to think about. I'm just going to read over them. Now, here are the things you want to have in mind. First of all, your parabolas are U's. Remember, we had the ones in the last section where I just kind of gave you a general one. Your parabolas are U's, so expect them to look like that. Here are the things that you need to do. You need to find your vertex. Decide whether your parabola opens up or down. Obviously, the one I drew here opened up. Find the y-intercept and its mirror point. And if needed, sometimes it won't be needed, find some extra points. So those are kind of your steps. So let's go through and let's do this. So here's my equation. First of all, I'm going to find my vertex, which means the tip of my parabola. Now, here's how you go about doing that. This equation is written in this form right here. To find the x part of the vertex, you're going to find negative b over 2a. So negative b, negative 2 is positive 2 over 2a. So 2 over 2 is 1. So the x part of your vertex is 1. To find the y part, plug it back into that equation. So 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. So I have 1 minus 2 minus 3 is a negative 4. My vertex is at 1, negative 4. Okay, let me graph that. 1, negative 4. There we go. Okay, you need to decide if your parabola opens up or down. In order to decide that, you're going to look at this number right here, the number in front of the x squared. If it's positive, and ours is like an understood 1, your parabola is going up. If this was a negative, it would be going down. Ours is going up. You just kind of want to keep that in the side of your head. And then to find your y-intercept is going to be at 0c. So in my case, 0, negative 3. Okay, so let me graph that. 0, negative 3. Now that means this is one side of my parabola. I'm going to get its mirror point. See how this is my axis of symmetry? So I'm one away there, one away here. That mirror point, so 2, negative 3, gives me my other side of the parabola. Now on this one, I have the parabola. I've got a picture here, so I don't have to worry about extra points. We're going to look at one here in a minute where you do have to worry about extra points. And then I'm going to decide on my domain and range. We've done domain and range before. Remember, your domain is your x values. So I go back to negative infinity here, to positive infinity here. So you could say all real numbers. Or you could write it out using your infinities. And my range, I don't have any values till right here. So y is greater than or equal to negative 4. Okay, let's look at a couple more of these. Okay, so here's my equation. Now, first of all, I know that this is going down because of the negative. Now let's find our vertex. So negative b over 2a. So b is 4, a is negative 1. So 4 divided by negative 2, negative 4 divided by negative 2 is 2. And I'll plug that back in to get my answer, or my y. Okay, so I'll have negative 4, remember just the 2 squared here, not the negative, plus 8 plus 2, so 10 and a negative 4 is 6. Okay, so my vertex is at 2, 6. And remember we said we're going down because of the negative. So this is the vertex. My y-intercept is at 0, 2. Now that gives me one side of my parabola. I'm going to do my mirror point to get the other side. So mirror point's at 4, 2. Okay, domain is all real again. I like to write it this way. And range, y is less than or equal to 6. Okay, then here is the last one. We're going to look at this one right here. So I'm going to go through, do the same things I did before. I do want y'all to see something that's happening. So negative b over 2a. Now on this one, our b is 0 because it's like plus 0x here in the middle. Okay, that's fair enough. I can do that. Okay, so my y-intercept, oh, no, I said that wrong. My vertex is at 0, 1. Now the reason I said that wrong is because this is my vertex. It also is my y-intercept. My graph, I know it's going to go down, is going to do something like that. I don't know exactly how steep it's going to be, but something like that. Here's the problem I have on this one that I didn't have on the other two. The problem that I have is what we did on the other ones is after we found the y-intercept, then, or after we found the vertex, then we used the y-intercept and its mirror point to get the two sides of the parabola. Here's my problem. My vertex is my y-intercept, hence all of my messing up the terminology. My y-intercept and my vertex are the same thing. So what I'm going to need to do is just go through and find some other points. So this is before when I said if needed, find some extra points. This is when it's needed. So to do that, I'm just going to make a t-chart. And I'm going to pick some x values. I like to keep it simple. I'm going to pick negative 2. So that'll give me something over here. And I'm going to pick positive 2. And I'm just going to plug those values in. Okay, so that's 4 plus 1 is a negative 3. Okay, and also negative 3. So negative 2, negative 3, positive 2, negative 3, which kind of makes sense because they are mirror points to each other. So it makes sense that they have the same y value. And there's my graph. Now I do want you to notice on these, you may pick different like extra points than I pick. That's fine as long as it's on the graph. So you might have picked, let me just use a different color here. You may have picked these points and ended up with those. They're still on that same graph. And then let's find domain and range. Now again, domain, my x values continue on, so it's negative infinity to infinity, or all real numbers. And my range is everything smaller than right there, so y is less than or equal to 1. Okay, now on this very last problem here, what I'm going to ask you to do is find the minimum value of this. Now, I don't know exactly where this would be, but I know it generally looks like this. If I'm asking you to find the minimum, I'm talking about right there. So let's find that point, and then we'll talk about what the minimum value is. Okay, so I'm going to go through. If I'm finding that vertex, I'm going to do negative b over 2a. So negative 2, and then I'll plug it back in. Okay, so negative 9. Okay, now if they ask you where do you have a minimum, you've got a minimum at x equals negative 2. The value is your y value. It's what the actual, how low you are here. So my minimum value is negative 9. Now you find it the same way we did before with the graphing. Negative b over 2a, plug it back in, but you do want the y value on these. Alright, so a little bit with graphing some quadratics. We are going to graph quadratics again later on using a little bit different technique, but for now this is our only way that we know how